welcome back. So today we're going to start off with a 20-ounce camper mug from Craft Haven. Now I am going to wrap this entire thing in vinyl, so all I'm going to do is just clean it off and make sure that there's no fingerprints, and do alcohol like I always do with any kind of vinyl application. It helps it stick better in my opinion. So I'm just going to show you how. This is the very first time I have done a full vinyl wrap on a camper mug, so I kind of took advice from Dixie Darlings and Jessica Flynn, everybody that I watch on a regular basis. So religiously is what I was going to say. So I am by no means an expert, but I have done vinyl wraps plenty of times, but it's just the handle situation that kind of gets in the way. So this is what I decided to do, was just basically kind of cut this piece in half. I'm going to be applying glitter on the bottom and leaving the top, just the top little bit exposed from that vinyl. So therefore I'm not too concerned with the perfect cut on the bottom. So I'm going to use the handle here right on the edge of the handle as like my first, barrier for the vinyl. So when I open the back and, expose the vinyl, I'm going to butt it up right up next to that handle. And so that is going to give me that perfect straight line to just take it and push it all the way around the entire cup. And as you can see, the bottom is exposed, but that's okay because we're just gonna cover that in glitter. It's one of my favorite things to do, so you don't have to worry about fixing up that bottom edge or taking it over the edge or anything like that. And it adds just a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of design, a little bit of something to it. So here's where it got a little tricky for me. So I was thinking, okay, this I think is the best way to do it. I butted my scissors right up to the edge of that handle, and then I snipped it at that right where that is. So therefore I would have like a perfect line going on the outside of the handle. And then I just pushed the remainder of the vinyl there on the inside, and then I just took my craft knife and just kind of sliced off the excess vinyl underneath the handle and like in the middle there, just to kind of get it off of the handle. And it worked out perfect to do this. It was really hard to show you what I was doing, but if you do this, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. I just kind of sliced it to where there's a little bit of that chunk of that vinyl would come off and kind of wrap around that handle, and it worked out great. So once I got all of those little slivers, as you can see there, I just kind of cut around to make sure that I got all the little pieces off there, so I have a flat surface going underneath. I didn't want any bumps or ridges or anything to cause any problems. So now I am just taking my knife and just, kind of resting it up against that handle so that I have like a straight, so it feels straight going all the way down. And this, because it was so kind of distressed and different little splotches of paint and design, it really worked out fine. You could not even really tell that there was a line there. I mean, up close and personal you could, but it was totally fine with, the look, the way that the look was on this whole entire vinyl. And I did get this vinyl at 95 Vinyl. It's one of my favorite vinyl stores. I just love their vinyl. It's so soft and easy to work with, and they have great designs. Ship pretty fast too, so I don't know. I really like them. But this I just kind of sliced just to make it look it was just a little bit uneven from the way that I just kind of cut it with the scissors. So I just wanted to get as much of that vinyl off of the bottom so that we could go to this next step. So here I was taping off the handle so that I could put epoxy on the handle and glitter the handle. I wanted it to have a little bit of the same look as the bottom part of the tumbler. So I wanted it to be the stainless steel to be exposed, but then there to be kind of it just shining glittery, just have a little bit of glitter there. So this was all going to kind of be distressed looking because of the vinyl design and everything. So I wasn't going to paint it or anything. I was just doing a quick little cute sparkly, mug, and so it worked out. I think it was fine. It's just I was just wanting to show y'all just an easy way to kind of make a Christmas tumbler. So this I got from the Wildflower Glitter Co. And I watch them religiously on TikTok on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. And I have got this particular mix here. If you want to take a screenshot of this, and you can go onto their website, and I will put everything down below, and you can make this mix if you would like. Now, I did not give them any direction. I just told them what they say is bartender's choice, so they chose. But my theme was like an old Christmas tree, just kind of lit and colors and, hodgepodge kind of look. My sister has one of those and I absolutely love it. And I'm too anal. I have to have everything matching and perfect. So, but it does feel like real Christmas when you have those types of trees. So I wanted that look, and I really think that they nailed it on this. So I'm just taking a little bit of epoxy and putting it all over the bottom, making sure the bottom is completely covered. And then I'm just kind of taking my fingers and just rubbing it up onto the top there. I mean, just up like over the edge. And then I'm taking the epoxy and putting it on the handle so that we can put the glitter on there as well. And I mean, just make sure that it is as smooth as possible. And I literally just took some epoxy that was in the bottom of a cup that I was epoxied a bunch of cups. And then whatever was left, I just took a glove and put it on there. You do want it to sit for just maybe a few minutes or so, just to kind of even out, so that way you don't have any streaking. But the glitter application here wasn't that crucial, and it's chunky, so it probably wasn't going to show any lines, but I do it just in case, just kind of out of habit. So I just kind of doused it all over the bottom and just let it fall where it may, wherever I had pushed the epoxy up. Whenever I pulled the epoxy from the bottom to the edge there, and I just let it kind of fall wherever. And you can see it has like all these nifty little green kind of colors and red and pink, and it just kind of looked like lights to me. And so I wanted to add that to something that was, already, just kind of like a rustic Christmas. That was kind of like the whole thought of this. So like I just put glitter on the handle. I wasn't really worried about like full coverage or anything, just that it had some sparkle to it and that it matched the bottom. And I just continued to just make sure that there was enough cover, that most of the stainless steel was covered and the edge of that vinyl and everything was covered. So that's the look I was going for. So I just took a piece of parchment paper that had been sitting there that had epoxy on it or everything, and I just folded it up and used it to kind of stick in the handle there. And just pat down as much as I could, because there is a little bit of chunkiness in there, and I just I always do this just to make sure that there's not any, you don't have to add so many layers of epoxy to try to cover up that chunky glitter. So just pat it down a little bit. I just, like you can see there, I just used like a little random piece of parchment paper and just kind of patted it and got it smooth. So then I removed the tape immediately, because you do not want that to cure with that tape on there. It will be a mess. You'll be ripping off half of your epoxy, and it'll be a mess. So make sure as soon as you get done, and I will have to say, put on some gloves. Do not do what I'm doing, because I was a sticky mess after this. So just make sure that you wear some gloves when you're doing this, because there was tape. I mean, there was epoxy all over that tape. So do as I say, not as I do, kind of thing. So, but make sure you take off the tape. So here is the first layer of epoxy. Now I started off with putting the epoxy on the top part and not on the handle or anywhere where the glitter was. I wasn't being completely way careful or anything, but I was just That way that there wasn't that much glitter going all over the place. But I did not seal this or anything. I just put the glitter on the top at first and did that whole part of the tumbler, and then I went down and got into the glitter part. So after that, that's when I put my fingers all over the glitter part, and I didn't mind if it traveled or got anywhere above there. That wasn't what I was, my main focus, but I just wanted to kind of make sure that I did the top and then the first, and then just kind of that way I could kind of maintain how much glitter got everywhere all over the cup if it did, so that's kind of, but that's just up to you. It's if you want to seal it and make sure you don't get any glitter anywhere, if that's the look you're going for, then do that. But this is how I did it. And this is where I did the handle. So I actually turned the turner off at that point so that I could focus just on the handle. And you're really going to want to get personal with this handle. Make sure you're getting the tops and the bottoms and the inside and the sides and the underneath and there is a lot you do. You really don't think that, if you think you have it all covered, just go over it one more time just in case, because it is very hard to get all the way around there. So, and to like sand it and everything. So these aren't, probably putting glitter on the handle probably wasn't my best idea, but I like the way it looks. It's cute. So, but there was a lot of sanding having to do on that handle. So either way, it all turned out great. And just a little heat to pop the bubbles, and we're good to go for that first coat. Followed up by a second coat before we got to this step. So I found this image off of Creative Fabrica. There is a link down below. It is my affiliation link. I will have the link to this specific design, and there are tons of states and tons of gnomes and different backgrounds and stuff. So there is a lot to choose from. I actually went through a ton to try to find this one that had the leopard print and the red and all of that. So I got this pack of like excess vinyl from the 95 vinyl, and it actually came in with these like excess pieces of white, I guess, that's on the front side of the big pieces of vinyl. Anyways, they actually work out for like those little things that you need, those little jobs that you need for, like the state of Texas or whatnot. So I don't know. It just was like one of those things. I'm going to try it and see what happens. And I was like, hey, this is kind of cool. But it did come with different designs and stuff like that too. So in Design Space, I took the Texas, that little image there, and I did an offset with it and did another offset on top of that offset so that I could put a green image and then a white Texas, and then put that printable vinyl on top of there. And so just so that we had like a little bit of kind of color. I knew that if I just put that Texas, that printable vinyl Texas on there, that it would have kind of got lost. So I needed to have kind of a background for it to sit on. So I used this really cool holographic green vinyl. Now this is something I get at the store local by my house, but it is pretty basic. It is a green holographic vinyl that I'm sure you either have something like it, or you could get it, or use something that you have in your, in your arsenal or your little box of scraps and stuff like that. I'm sure you could find something. And I have had really good luck by doing all of my layering in separate, one over the other on the cup, not outside of doing, not doing it away from the cup, but doing it actually on the cup. And so, I don't know. I just will have to say that I used to do it where I would put it all together and then put it on the cup, but this works out so much better. I do not have as many, pull-ups or, like where the vinyl is kind of pulling up, or air bubbles and stuff like that. So I suggest doing it like this, and be sure you hold on to your printable vinyl, because I don't know if it's like has electricity in it or whatever, but it just sticks, like it just wants to grab hold of it. So this always happens to me. But anyways, just be careful. And as you can see, I sanded the heck out of the bottom and the handle, all of that, in order to be prepared for the next step of this, putting the the decal on and putting my logo on the bottom, and then we are going to cover it in Mod Podge and put on our final 2 coats. So as you can see, you can actually see a lot of the, stainless steel kind of around the edge. And I was fine with this, but if this bothers you, definitely want to paint, and you would probably need a couple more coats of epoxy in order to sand that down, because what it basically did was I sanded it down to the edge of the stainless steel. But like I said, that was part of, I knew that was going to happen, so it didn't bother me. So if that bothers you, make sure you take care of that before you even start that process. So what I'm doing here is I'm adding a little bit of this gold. I will definitely link it down below. I totally forgot what it's called, but it's from the glitter craze. But anything like that, I wanted to use gold because I felt like gold was more along the lines of the color scheme. I thought gold would go well. But if you have like a holographic or something like that, I think it would be fine. But just to give it some sparkle, and the rest of it was kind of, rustic and dull and that kind of thing. So I wanted to add just a little bit of something to give it, a little bit of something. So just to give it a little bit of sparkle, and I really like that. But you want to make sure with these additives that you are really mixing them up well, and that when you are putting them on the tumbler, that you are really spreading it out, so that way you don't have like big clumps of gold or silver or whatever color you're using. So just make sure that you are, that you're spreading it out, and make sure you kind of heat it up a little bit so that it kind of evens out, because I've done that before where I've had like little gold splotches, and you got to go back in, put another coat on just to kind of avoid, that being too obvious. I spent quite a bit of time, making sure that it was even. And then after this cured, I put another coat of epoxy on as the final coat, and that was it. And I had so much fun with this. And I think, honestly, if you have a state that, if you live in a state that the state just looks so cute on stuff, this is definitely something you could probably throw together real quick and take to a show, or, kind of do it as a RTS. Please join my group. If you remake it, please tag me, and I will see you next time.